What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Ghosts of War video. This is one of the biggest hidden gems in my opinion of 2020, featuring the weirdest collection of cast members such as Brenton Thwaites and Alan Ritchson, currently Nightwing and Hawk respectively on Titans, also featured R.A. Troublemaker, and that guy who is in everything, and hey kids, it's Billy Zane. The movie had so many twists it kept me gripped, as I had no idea what to actually expect next. And while the acting was ropey, but it might have been really the clunky script they were given to work with, the story itself is really clever, and I am really a sucker for a World War II movie. Now, there will be spoilers for the movie in this video, and if you enjoy it, please do drop a like down below and subscribe with notifications on. We open with soldiers sleeping in Nazi-occupied France in 1944. Everyone is sleeping at a camp as the character Chris is asleep but wakes up and sees a man smoking, watching the group, and disappears. This is the same man we saw at the end of the movie, watching them. The rest of the soldiers wake up and prepare to move on towards their target of a mansion or a castle that they need to hold. They spot a German vehicle moving as they assault it and kill the group, but there is a lone survivor, and that is the Doctor from the end of the movie. I did think it was weird that Billy Zane died so early on, but as we learned, he was the Doctor keeping the soldiers alive in modern day, using a sort of, I would say, Matrix-style world. And, well, this is essentially them fighting against the Doctor, as Butchie literally fights him and explains why the German was so strong, although they shoot him and they move on. Now, they arrive at a tree line and find refugees from what we would assume is a concentration camp, and they're given the coat that they stole and some gold to survive. This is similar to the theme of evil prevails when good men do nothing, resulting in them later being cursed for not helping the Afghan family. And this is probably part of them trying to actually survive this simulation and come to terms with what they did or didn't do. Upon finding their target, a large chateau, they reach a sketchy group of survivors who are there holding, and they are the relief, and this group are eager to leave the mansion. The only explanation I have for this is that these were other people maybe brought into the simulation in other rooms that have also been affected by the curse that was brought into the machine that the Doctors created to help with PTSD. Yes, it's a bit weird that that happened, but I would presume that that is really my headcanon here. Now, one thing which was really cool was how when they do find the soldiers that they are relieving, the leader of that group is the kind of like CIA agent that was involved at the end of the movie when the revelation came out, and he was the one who kind of stopped them from really doing anything. Instantly there's a bad vibe as this group aren't sleeping in the bedrooms or haven't eaten the food that is in the pantry, along with their radio not working. It's evident this chateau is far too good to be true, as the squad look around the house, but we see burn marks and scratches that would later learn is the remnants of the father of the family in the house being burnt and the family being dragged to be sadly killed. Chris hears a weird clanging in the walls, and we constantly hear these noises throughout the movie, and we learn it is the family haunting them. But these noises are actually really their subconsciousness trying to wake them up. Ignoring all this spookiness, they decide to drink wine and eat all the cheese they can that is left in the house. Now, Skylar Astin, Eugene, is reading a book about portals as they hear the noises and go to look for the source. I didn't like how they technically all survived except Butchie, and the horror didn't really work as no one is sort of taken out or picked off throughout the movie, and really it kind of is really a group of diminishing returns of spooks. However, a kettle goes off and it's just Eugene making tea. Boy, I love Skylar Astin, and they discuss POWs, and I thought it was odd how they talked about a tongue was cut out of the person that they're discussing. And, well, I think it might be the enemies they fought in Afghanistan treating prisoners terribly, and that is bleeding through to this simulation. Eugene then has found a diary of an 18-year-old who wrote about what the Germans did to the family in the house, and they hear the tapping again that is Morse code. It says, "I have no legs." Of course, this is again their subconscious trying to communicate that they are in a simulation. They also find a chest and a photo of the family who lived in the house and are haunting them. Now, Tappert, the sniper who they all think killed child soldiers, keeps overwatch and sees someone on a plinth and is also haunted by another ghost. It's clear that he is probably the most troubled by what happened, considering that when they speak of how they found him with a cat's cradle, well, this was actually not him killing child soldiers, but we learn later in the movie it was one of the children of the family they went to extract who was having a cat's cradle toy, and he gave a toy to another child, and they were brutally killed in the drone strike. They later look around the attic, and one of them finds a hanging woman, and they move a wardrobe that a ghost closes on Eugene, and his hand becomes crushed. They find a pentagram, the one that Tappert would later use to bring the dead back to life, and they instantly think the place is haunted, and the radio says, "You leave, you die," and it's also forced to be written down there in a sort of, I would say, possession. Again, the subconscious telling them that if they leave the simulation, they will die due to shock. They are in the machine to train their brain to get used to the trauma they faced when they were blown up. Now, German soldiers arrive as they're alerted by the ghosts, and a shootout ensues, and the ghosts kill each one of the soldiers in the same way the ghosts themselves were actually killed. I do love a good World War II movie, and I think it's time for my yearly Band of Brothers rewatch. They learn after the fight that the family in the house were French Jews, or at least that's what they thought they were, and they funneled people who would be killed by the Germans to America and helped pay their way. They sort of pay the ultimate price, and the family are a simulation version of the Afghan family who tried to extract people from and families from Afghanistan. Butchie is heavily injured and essentially has the same injuries as in real life, and died in the real world as he woke up and did see his body. He screams it's not real, which, well, it isn't, of course. They decide to leave the mansion and move on before their relief comes, but they bury Butchie and move on, but it looks like they're moving around in circles. They go through the town, and you can even see the bomb that injured them in real life. One of them has dreams of dying the same way the family did, and they arrive back at the house and realise they need to give their family a true burial. One thing I did find weird was they mentioned giving them a Christian burial, but the family they thought were Jewish, but really they were Afghans. While I enjoyed the movie, the writing was incredibly clunky, and the movie does remind me of one of my favourite horror movies, Grave Encounters, an older horror movie, which I might do a video on at some point. They hear the word Vetraluk, which we found out that they kept saying in real life, and it's the curse that when you let evil happen, it kind of comes back onto you. Now, we see the family die in flashbacks, and they bury the bodies. However, it was their plan as they realise it's a Muslim family, and their knowledge of that language is from real life, and Tappert is performing a ritual to bring them also back to life. The family become digital, and Chris wakes up to find the doctor, and he's told he is alive but heavily injured from his time in Afghanistan. Their mansion mission sort of mirrors the kind of mission they went on, but the CIA agent wouldn't let them engage the enemy fighters, and well, the fighters come to kill the family, and they're sort of left, and they did do nothing. The family die, and a drone strike hits, and the soldiers are injured when the survivor comes and blows them up, and they are then cursed. However, the curse is somehow transferred to the machine, and Chris goes back under into the kind of simulation, but he risks his memory being wiped as the life cycle begins again, and he sees the smoking man from the start watching him. Now, he was meant to confront the sins, and that is what he decided to do with the doctors and undo the curse, but his memory has been wiped, and he's stuck in a loop. The machine was supposed to help him come to terms with what happened, but it's very much failed, and while I don't think the curse was actually real, it might have been their imagination in the sim and kind of their whole kind of guilt being manifested. Now, I thought this was a movie that had a better idea than the end execution, but it is nonetheless an interesting film, and most of the cast I really, really like. It's nice to see Alan Richardson in more movies, and well, he will be forever my Aquaman. But that is it for this video. Please do drop a like down below if you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe with the notifications on, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.